Crypto Space is back with another Monad update for you guys. Monad sitting just under 19 cent at 206 million in market cap, circulating market cap here, 1.89 in FDV, and just under 70 million in 24-hour volume. Volume is down 3.77%. You know, what'd be great for Monad here is we form a double bottom pattern here, and with that double bottom pattern, we make the most perfect W pattern for Monad. You know, move up from its launch, move back down, you know, move up to make the middle of the W, move back down for one more leg, and then we start our move to the upside. That'd be extremely bullish for Monad here for as far as chart patterns go, to see a W pattern form for Monad. Again, like I said, guys, a lot of people, this is why I always say DCA, dollar cost average is the way to go, right? I know a lot of people started to FOMO in at around 3 cents, and then what happened? We saw that retrace back down to almost all the way down to 17 cent once again, right? Just a little bit above that 17 cent, dropped down to 18 cent, right? So now again, it's a little bit back above our first entry when I first started to speak about Monad on the channel. And again, if you're interested in purchasing some Monad here, I would think that is a good bet to make. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but in my opinion, now is a great entry to start your DCA, or if you wanted to add to your bags, now would be a great time to do so. I'm not going to tell you guys to overinvest into any project, so this is why I say 50,000 to 100,000 Monad is a great bet, a great investment to make, because if we're just going to be conservative, in my targets, right, I personally think, you know, the market has been so terrible and it's been so bad for like a year, for the whole of 2025. Even in 2024, when we saw Solana and the meme coin boom on Solana, actual altcoins with real utility and use case barely got, you know, the flood of liquidity that we typically see, right? I think, this is my thesis, that when we do return to that, and when actual utility, actual real world value projects start to get liquidity once again, it will be, you know, it will bring crypto back to its former glory, as you will, right? As you'd say, it bring crypto back to its former glory, where people are like, yo, crypto is the best thing ever, crypto is amazing, the crypto market is fantastic. Right now, what is the sentiment about crypto? Crypto sucks. They hate it. People hate it. They don't want to touch crypto. We'd rather do sports betting. We'd rather do prediction markets. We'd rather buy gold and silver, which is absolutely going parabolic right now. We'd rather be in the stock market, right? So it feels like the crypto industry is like in a downturn, unless you're buying, you know, the flavor of the week meme coin on Solana, right? Unless you're doing that. And even trading that is extremely difficult to do if you're looking for early entries, right? For example, whereas with Monad, you know, typical retail investor buying Monad here, this is an early entry, and you have more than enough time to accumulate, especially if you have, you know, you're making an honest living. You don't have the time to be checking charts 24/7. You got a life to live, you got a family, you got kids, etc. You don't, you know, a project like Monad is in a great spot for someone like that, right? Someone that can't be, you know, 24/7 checking, you know, these on-chain tools and scanners, right? So again, this is why I say Monad is in a great spot for the average retail investor, someone that doesn't have too much to invest, under $10,000 portfolio, under $5,000 portfolio, don't have a ton to invest. This is one of the better altcoins, if not one of the best altcoins for them to have exposure to, for, you know, not guaranteed upside, but more a higher probability of upside, right? So this is why I say, you know, Monad here is a great buy, in my honest opinion, my personal opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong, because, you know, the market, the market, you know, you guys know how the market is, man. If you've been here long enough, it's majority of people saying, you know, crypto sucks, compared to a minority saying, you know, it's a great space to be in. So as my thesis is that like I said, crypto will return to its former glory, and there will be altcoins with actual value that do extremely well and do make those massive runs like we've seen in the past, right? It's just a matter of patience, right? So Nice little update from the official Monad X account. We have another Dapp that is being onboarded to Monad called Lever Up XYZ, where people, if you're on chain, if you know about Dex Screener, Dexes, etc., you guys see how I talked about Monad memes on the channel, right? I already talked about the ones I like and I've covered already, so I'm not going to cover anymore because, you know, eventually there's going to be a million memes launched, right? So I already talked about the ones I liked. I already said, hey, don't invest more than, you know, a couple $100 into these memes. I talked about them so early, like under a million in market cap. So I talked about them so early. So if we do see upside for Monad, which I think is very possible, you're gonna see upside in these memes, and they potentially, you know, a few $100 could get you 5 figures, maybe even 6 figures if we see the type of runs that we saw in Solana, right? So there's always new Dapps that are being onboarded to Monad and being built on Monad. Lever Up is one of these projects as well. So if you think about Aster, you think about Hyperliquid, Lever Up is the on-chain perp dex with up to 1,000x leverage. That is straight up gambling there. 0 fees on losses, 100% fees to traders, built on Monad, right? So official Monad account is giving highlights to Lever Up here, man. 1,000x leverage is crazy, but you know there's degens out there that would want to trade those types of markets, right? Users can trade perps with up to 1,000x leverage on crypto, equities, and commodities, with 100% of fees going back to traders, right? So again, there's builders that are building on Monad here, from Dapps to, you know, memes, NFTs, etc. And, you know, every highlight, every new Dapp is a great sign to see for the project as a whole. So if people, you know, if there's, you know, Monad whales or Monad investors that's like, you know what, I want to try this leverage thing. I have, you know, I'm on the Monad chain. Let me try out perp dexes. Let me try the perp dex. I don't really want to go to BNB. I don't want to use Hyperliquid. This one looks, you know, new. Maybe I could find some type of edge here. They could use Lever Up to do so, right? So great to see Monad is consistently, you know, having builders on board to the network, right? That's what you want to see. That's how you have a successful blockchain, right? So now a quick little update as usual for, you know, Monad here. So as always, guys, none of this is financial advice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Truly appreciate all the support. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. Thank you so much. Like, really appreciate all the support on the videos. Truly, sincerely, humbly thank you guys for that. And I'll catch you in the next one.